Hey guys, we've got the fine accoutrements puck of Santal Absolut in the Old Spice vintage mug. I like this kind, the kind of the milk glass style. There's a more opaque, kind of yellowish, beigeish one out there as well. I haven't managed to get one of those. I mean, I'm sure I'll buy a lot at some point that has one in it, and I'm not really in a big hurry. I just kind of like the way this one looks better, and I've actually got 3 or 4 of these, so I'm not aching for more, right? The brush that is going to be working up the soap is my Wolf Whiskers, blue handle here. And this has the Oumo 24 millimeter finest super high density Manchuria knot from Oumo. And if you want to buy a brush from Oumo and some of the different makers that are on like DS Cosmetics, that are on AliExpress, then jump on there quickly because on 11/11 they have a sale, and I realize you're going to see this 1 or 2 days after that, but I figured I'd mention it just in case this sale goes on longer than 24 or 48 hours. Um, Good prices on a lot of different things there. I ordered. What did I end up ordering? I ordered another Oumo knot. This time it was with the handle included, and it's their Silk High Mountain White. And don't think I've tried that one before. Got a good deal on it, so I went ahead and ordered one. There's this razor head. I'm sure it's pot metal, but it was inexpensive, so that matches. Um, and it looks like a knight's helmet. The top of it looks almost like a radiator. It has these grooves, cutouts, and I figured, hey, why not? It's super cheap. I also got a couple of cases, like for straight razors or other types of things. Anything else? Oh, I did buy a bore knot to put in a handle. So nothing really big this time. I think last year was the first time I'd heard about that sale. It's almost like a Black Friday sale for that part of the world, it seems, and so I really made most of my purchases regarding that type of stuff last year, and so I didn't have. There's not as much for me this year. They had smartwatches for like $20. It's pretty cool. Normally they're 40 or 50, and they're on sale for 20. I didn't get one. I mean, maybe I will next year. Um, so the back to the subject matter at hand. I'm going to be using the Nacet again today. Yesterday was my Veterans Day shave, and I put the Nacet in a razor that was mild, and I thought, hey, um, this is going to be rough, but it wasn't. So I'm going to use another tech today. Here's my count sheet for the Nacet, 300 plus 47. So today is 348 after today's shave. And so this is a tech. This is the Bakelite handle. It's just that Bakelite material. It's very, very light. I don't even think it's got a metal insert for the threading. I think it relies on its own material to be the threading. And so you don't want to over tighten this. I'm sure it was inexpensive at the time, relatively, compared to other razors. And this may have even been the kind to be issued out to maybe military servicemen, that sort of thing. It does have the typical 4 posts on the corners that I love because they always align the blade perfectly. So looks like pretty much a standard tech top cap. Now this base plate here is thinner than the typical tech. Am I right? It's thinner. And then this tech actually has a bit of an arc to the base plate. Obviously, it's got an arc to the top cap, but it's got an arc to the base plate right there. And this one, it's more flat. So it's slightly different as well as being thinner. There aren't any date markings, and it is made in the USA. It does say that. And then we have the super light Bakelite. So this is, for those who like feather light razors, this is going to especially speak to, your own preferences. And just don't cross thread the Bakelite. Just be gentle with it. This is the first time I've ever used it. I don't expect it to shave too differently from a Tech. I expect the feel to be different because it's so light. It's more likely to give you a feeling of resistance as it's being pushed through the hairs. A heavier razor has that inertia that lets you move through the hairs with a smoother feeling. Okay, so that guy's loaded up. The brush has been soaking for a little while, so let me get my face wet. Shaved late yesterday, so not quite 24 hours on the growth, and so the shave should be pretty comfy. Love this brush. The knot on it, the tips are so soft, and it's nice, easy splay, even though it's quite dense. Let's do 15 seconds of loading. Ooh, 5 rolled around right there, so why don't we just jump on that. And there we go. We don't have, tons of soap that's visible, hasn't worked itself up into an early lather like some soaps do within this kind of loading, time frame, but I got a feeling it'll be plenty. As you can see, it's starting to come together fairly quickly. So let me bend you down a little bit to see the lather. Fill up my syringe with some water, and let's go ahead and put a teaspoon in. So I totally whiffed it yesterday with my Veterans Day shave, at least in the sense of wisdom and ignorance, because I told you guys I was using Williams, and I indeed intended to pick out Williams. It's an American soap. Honor our American servicemen. It's one that they were, the servicemen of yore were very likely to have on hand. But I had not labeled that container. And when I went after the shave to enter that into my computer, I noticed that my entry for it said Arco DIY Stetson, not Williams DIY Stetson. And so sure enough, that is one that I should have labeled because I forgot what shreds of hard soap I used to make that soap. And that's why it lathered up very differently than Williams, because it wasn't Williams. And it wasn't as slick as Williams is. It may have lathered up quicker and easier, but it wasn't as slick as Williams. And I did note those two things on the video. And of course my surprise that it lathered up just like normal soaps is warranted because it wasn't Williams. So as you can see, we've got some lather coming up here. It does not look like we are going to have any quantity problems. 3 teaspoons now into the lather. I just meant to stay in this location for a few days, and you may have noticed I'm starting to repeat some gear brush. Now fortunately at this location I do have kind of an extra few razors that I don't use that often, so I have been able to bring out that gold Tech that I did yesterday. Then I had this Bakelite Tech sitting around kind of in the same box as that gold one was. You almost never need to buy these Techs explicitly if you're kind of the person that I am, because when you buy a grouping of products on eBay, a lot of times the Techs will just be part of it, you know. They're so popular. So many of them were made. Mr. Razor is a website, mr-razor.com. If you like the vintage techs or just want to browse around for any of the vintage razors, then I recommend that site. You know, go to it and poke around. He's got pictures and a lot of information. That site is kind of the resource for information about the vintage Gillettes. And look at this, plenty of lather. Nothing to worry about. And so his site said that this Bakelite, as well as many of the early vintage techs, was between 38 and 45, 1938 to 1945. I don't know if that refers to the production range or when these particular, well, I guess it's the same thing. If they were, that would be the production range when they were made. And so there are no date codes on these, and so that's how we know it's not after a certain date, you know, that sort of thing. All right, let me get you down a little bit, get my face a little wet. We can start putting lather on. I did bring several soaps, and so I'm going to be here for a few more days, and I'm not going to run out of the soaps that I wanted to try because, you know, I'm usage testing this particular soap. Although I'm not able to weigh it with the same scale that I started out with. So I may be only resorting to a start and a end weight for my usage calculations on this. Used the Ariana and Evans recently. I've also I brought some classic Sulla with me. I'm a big fan of Sulla. Brought some couple others that I have not tried yet. All right, let's see how this Tech. Yesterday the Tech did great. Just as good or maybe even better than the Fatip special edition that I've been using with it. I like the handles that get a little bit wider toward the bottom in terms of just ergonomics. It just allows such a great hold on the razor. I'm feeling the resistance, but you know what I'm not really feeling all that much of is a tugging, hair pulling, you know, sensation. It's like I'm feeling the razor go over bumps, but I'm not feeling those hairs getting painfully tugged. You know, that's pretty cool. Just lightly holding the razor, even though this is a light razor. Continuing my usual practice of a very light touch. Oh, and then we do have some goatee lather, because this was a pretty rich mix. So we can kind of put that on the trouble area here. And so you can even keep going with it if you've got a handful of lather, right? This is a nice creamy lather, kind of on the dry side of perfect. If you're a frequent air traveler, then the Bakelite may be a good option for you. I mean, I see them all the time on eBay. You can buy, I've seen so many times where it's like 5 different razors and, you know, 3 of them are techs. You might even get, and if you're lucky, if you bide your time, one of them will be an adjustable, like a Slim or the black handle. Usually you're not so lucky that one of them is a fat boy, but because those are more rare. But I've definitely seen plenty of instances where you would get a slim and a few techs and maybe even a single edge for $25, and it's totally worth that. Now, if you want to hunt around and find a single, tech that meets your needs, and if you find one that's just in great condition, this one has the gold colored top. Others had the chrome colored top or nickel. Obviously, if you find one you want and you really like its condition, why not go ahead and pick it up, right? But if you just want to kind of experiment and play around, I think your best bet is to just wait and keep an eye on one of those on eBay you call them lots, on one of those lot purchases so that you can get a lot for your money. Be able to try out several things. Several different razors at once. So here I'm getting a comfortable shave with this Tech, and I got a comfortable shave with one yesterday too. So does that mean that the Nacet would have been okay with me shaving with a Tech this whole time? I don't know. Pretty sure I've tried a Tech at a few points in this Nacet's life. It's possible that it was uncomfortable with a Tech at one point, but then gradually has dulled to the point where now it can work with a Tech. I could see that being possible. Now I've heard a few people out there talk about how they like to use a blade 20, 30 times, and then they will hit a wall with the blade. And they will keep using it with the same razor, where my practice with this blade and others is that I will move away from mild razors and start shaving with more aggressive ones that will be able to handle the blade. And they just stick with it and they push through the wall. And they claim that on the other side is a very smooth shaving little zone where they love the way it shaves. I might try that someday just to see if it works that way for me. Would be an interesting phenomenon, right? And there we go. That's 3 passes. I will do another neck pass. It's a good little razor. Doesn't quite have as smooth of a feel because it's so light. You feel yourself pulling through hairs. Of course, I do need to try it with a newer blade that is going to obviously cut a little bit better. Could have a very different feel. All right, we'll do the neck pass. And looks like 15 seconds is plenty of lather. Man, I love the feel of this brush. I don't need to wipe it to put it on that much. I don't need to rub the brush around that much. I just enjoy it. Now, for this section, I'll do a little bit of skin tightening, skin tugging, lifting my chin away and out, and then also just holding my skin here for security and safety and stuff. You don't want to over tighten. And there we go. And if you want, you can always dip back into your lather bowl hidden area. And again, keeping it light helps this not to, helps it to give it the best chance to not give you razor burn, anything like that. I don't believe I have. Closeness, pretty good. Happy with it. A little bit of length and some tips. I've got my Stirling Balm here. This is I store it upside down, and so a lot of times some will come out when I don't want it to, so I was trying to mitigate the flow there. This is a Sharp Dressed Man, and this is, as you can see by the label, it's the older kind of label, so I'm trying to use it up before it goes bad. It's a nice scent with a little bit of zing to it. I like the Balm. The Sharp Dressed Man aftershave has a little bit too much punch for me. Green Irish Tweed by Creed is the scent it's patterned after. Very popular scent, not as current now as it used to be. All right, I think Clint Eastwood, Cary Grant, those dudes wore this scent. But it's still somewhat popular. Even in Stirling's lineup, it's a very popular choice, along with Executive Man, which is from Creed Aventus, a more contemporary type design scent. Here's what this little guy looks like. 24 millimeters, right? But he's huge. I mean, I've got a big head, and that is a big splay. Lots of density, lots of bristles in this, and so that helps to just let it splay quite a bit. That's what he looks like after I work him on a towel, dry him out. Give those high density knots a little bit more time in the rinse. Make sure you get those guys clean. Looks like we did use 3.5 teaspoons of water with that 15-second load, and that seems about right. I think in the past I've had lathers a little bit more on target that were more like 4 teaspoons, so it makes sense that this is a little bit less water to be a little bit more dry. But that was a nice lather. Pardon me, just not quite as wet as I usually do it. I think the Bakelite Tech might be great for a camper, a backpacker who needs to travel light. Of course, there are a few just plastic razors out there that might be even lighter. But you could take along a supply of blades, and I got a feeling those are going to be, let's say you need to take 5 refills, 5 different disposables or 5 different blades from a DE. That might kind of start to equal out a little bit, but you can, of course, buy the carrying cases where this is beside and then this is tucked into a sleeve, and then things fold over to keep it all safe. There are over on Frugal Shave, that's an Etsy store, I believe. They have printable inserts where they will 3D print you an insert that goes into an Altoids tin. And then it has little spots for blades as well as the head and handle, just like I was showing you there. If you travel via airline, then obviously this is going to be a very light thing, and the Bakelite isn't going to come across on the x-ray scan. You're probably going to get in trouble with most folks if you try to carry a blade or pack of blades onto the airline. And so with these, you do have to take a pack of them, and you can mail them to yourself if you know where you're going. You can also, of course, especially if you're traveling internationally, find these, at airport stores or small drug stores nearby, places like that, pharmacies and whatnot. Other parts of the world use these blades too. In fact, over there in China and India and Pakistan and kind of that whole area, these types of razors are a lot more popular, I believe, than they are here in America. And so we can rely on them. We can thank them for their continued support and keeping production up of the things that we like to use here on this side of the pond. So you can mail blades ahead to a hotel or something like that if you have specific blades you like to use and you're going to be there for a while, or you can just rely on maybe take a disposable with you just in case, with a cart or something. What is it called? The Gillette Guard is an open comb razor. It has refillable cartridges, but They are inexpensive and they shave a lot better than the, I need to use it on this channel. I've got a couple. They shave a lot better than the 5-blade multi-blade carts. And I've heard just really good reports from those. And so I think those are a really good travel option as well. And so that way, if you get somewhere you can't buy these, then you can use the other item. All right, folks. I've used the balm, enjoying that light scent around me. I've pretty much put away all my stuff. I think we're good. And I sure hope that you guys have gotten something out of this shave. Sorry for the miscommunication, my misremembering brain, and the snafu thinking I was using Williams yesterday when I was really using Arco. But there we go. It is what it is, right? You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and wish the best for you. Keep yourself safe in this COVID time frame, and we'll just keep praying for those who are working on vaccines and things like that, and treatments. And watch out. Just be careful, folks. You guys take care. Bye.